Associate Faculty Development, Applying Adult Learning Theory into Online Learning by Dana Wilkie. There is no single theory of learning that can be applied to all adults. There are a variety of models, sets of assumptions, and principles and theories. The more that we are familiar with this knowledge base, the more effective our practice can be, and the more responsive our practice can be to the needs of adult learners. This presentation will review the two major theories, Andragogy and stage self-directed, and we will review their implications for practice. Who is the adult learner? Typically, the adult learner is over 25 years old, a part-time student, often female with adult responsibilities. Increasingly, adult learners are people of color or immigrant. What is the purpose of adult learning? According to Caffarella, adults want to grow and develop, solve practical problems, increase work opportunities, meet organizational needs, and examine community and societal issues. Why do adults return to higher education? Many adults return to gain new skills for the workforce, gain career advancement. Some return after or during their service in the military. Many adults return to higher education to finish what they started after many years. What is the difference between pedagogy and andragogy? You can conclude from the above that pedagogy is a child-focused teaching approach, whereas andragogy an adult-focused teaching approach. Or, formally, pedagogy is the art and science of helping kids learn, whereas andragogy is the art and science of helping adults learn. Malcolm Knowles identified 4 principles of andragogy. 1. Adults are self-directed. Adults take responsibility for their learning. 2. Adults have extensive depth of experience. 3. Adults are ready to learn. And 4, adults are task motivated. Principle of andragogy number 1. Adults must have a hand in the design and development of their learning experience. While both adult and younger online learners must feel as though they are playing an active role in their own online experience, for adult learners, this is particularly important. They must truly be an integral part of the development and implementation of the curriculum, as well as the evaluation process. Getting feedback from adult learners allows you to achieve this, as it offers you the opportunity to design learning materials, exams, and activities based upon the needs and wants of the adult learners. Principle of andragogy number 2. Experience should be at the root of all online learning tasks and activities. What matters most in regards to adult learning isn't the end result, but the online learning experience that is gathered through instruction and activities. Rather than offering memorization tasks, create projects and exercises that encourage adult learners to go out and explore the subject matter, thereby gaining experience. By doing this, adult learners can learn from their errors and master their skill sets through first-hand experience. Adult learners can take on their own approach when solving problems, which will give them the chance to use their knowledge in a practical way. There will be trial and error involved, which is what makes the overall online learning experience more meaningful and effective. Principle of andragogy number 3. Real-life applications and benefits must be tied to the online course. Adult learners need to be able to tie the subject matter to real-world benefits and applications. If they cannot see how a module or activity will give them an advantage in real life, or how a particular online course is going to apply to real-world situations, then they won't be excited about the online learning process. Online learning professionals can increase engagement by integrating scenarios into adult online programs. This way, adult learners have the opportunity to directly see how what they are learning can be used in the real world. Principle of andragogy number 4. Give adult learners the opportunity to absorb information rather than memorizing it. The content being offered in adult e-learning courses should be problem-centered, as adult learners will want to immediately see how the instructions will help them to solve an issue they might encounter outside of the online environment. This often means that the subject matter should offer them the chance to fine-tune skill sets and acquire and retain practical knowledge by doing rather than just memorizing. Create activities that allow adult learners to delve into specific tasks, such as simulations that enable them to store the information in their long-term memory through repetition and experience. What are the andragogical assumptions? These are 5 adult learning theory assumptions. 1. Learning behavior, self-concept. 2. The adult learner's experience. 3. Readiness to learn. 4. Orientation to learning. And 5. Motivation for learning. What are the andragogical assumptions? These are 5 adult learning theory assumptions. 1. Learning behavior, self-concept. Adult learners are self-directed. They have control over their learning experience, and they are 100% responsible for their own learning. They are also deeply involved not only in planning, but also in evaluating their learning, as they know what knowledge they want to acquire. On the contrary, young learners are not self-directed. They still depend on their teachers throughout the learning process. Therefore, their teachers should be responsible not only of what will be taught, but also of how it will be taught and evaluated. 2. The learner's experience. Adult learners have clearly more experience than young learners. Their experience becomes the main resource of both their learning and the personal identity they have developed. As the richer and more diverse their experience, the more diversity they can bring to their own learning. Young learners, on the other hand, present little personal experience by default. And so it is impossible for this experience to serve as a learning resource. It can only be used to build upon. 3. Readiness to learn. Adult learners' readiness to learn can be triggered by literally anything: a sudden change in their lives, a need for dealing with life tasks and problems more successfully, the desire for self-improvement and self-development, and so on. Adults need to know why to learn something. As soon as they answer this question, they are ready to start. Children, on the other hand, are usually told what to learn. The reason behind their learning is developing their skills to achieve the next level of mastery. 4. Orientation to learning. What kind of knowledge are adult learners most interested in? Naturally, adult learners seek information that is useful in their personal lives and work environment. This audience demands that their learning is relevant to their real-life issues, problems, and tasks, and that their education will boost their performance levels and help them live their lives in a better, more satisfying way. Young audiences' learning, on the contrary, is subject-centered, meaning that the subject determines the sequence according to which the learning content units will be presented and taught. 5. Motivation for learning. What motivates adults to find time for their learning in their busy schedule? Mostly intrinsic motivators: self-esteem, self-confidence, desire for better quality of life, curiosity, self-development, and recognition are only a few factors that motivate adult learners to learn. Needless to say, intrinsic incentives are much more powerful than extrinsic ones, and thus adult learners, more often than not, are more satisfied with the learning process, more focused, more persistent, and more eager to apply their knowledge more frequently and successfully than younger learners. On the other hand, children and teenagers are mostly motivated by extrinsic factors, such as getting good grades or other perks, or avoiding the consequences of failure. Now that you've become familiarized with the pedagogy versus andragogy, let's now learn how to apply the principles of adult learning to your online courses. Applying adult learning theory. It is clear that andragogy can be highly motivational, as adult learners are more goal-oriented than younger learners. This is why offering them meaningful learning experiences can make a real difference in achieving learning outcomes. The andragogical assumptions allow the adult learner to move from the traditional styles of learning to the adult learning methodologies of learning. Adults move from dependence to self-direction. Adults bring life experience and transform it to a learning experience. Adults move from routine developmental tasks to embracing their readiness to learn. Adults look at learning new skills for an immediate application rather than a future application. Lastly, adult learners' motivation becomes more intrinsic rather than extrinsic. How can we apply Knowles' 5 andragogical assumptions to online learning? Assumption number 1. Self-concept. Create learning experiences that offer minimum instruction and maximum autonomy. A major aspect of designing adult online courses is having an online support system to offer guidance and help, while still giving the tools and resources they need to learn on their own terms. Adult learners acquire new information and build upon existing knowledge much more effectively if they are encouraged to explore a topic on their own. While younger learners might need to be guided through the learning process, mature learners will typically get more out of the experience if they are able to work autonomously. This might come in the form of self-study or group collaboration projects that involve minimal instructor intervention. Online faculty developers can also offer simulations, scenarios, or games without prefacing them with any information. As such, the adult learners will have to explore the activity on their own and decide which benefits and information they can take away from the experience. Assumption number 2, adult learner experience. Include a wide range of instructional design models and theories to appeal to varied experience levels and backgrounds. Adult learners are more mature. Therefore, they have had more time to cultivate life experience and typically have a wider knowledge base. That means that you'll have to take into account that your adult learning audience is going to be more diverse, especially in terms of backgrounds, experience levels, and skill sets. While one adult learner may be well versed on how to search for resources online, another may have very little experience using the internet. All of this must be considered when designing and developing your online courses and activities. To appeal to different adult learners, it's often best to include a variety of different instructional design models and theories into your module. Survey your adult learners beforehand to determine any technical knowledge limitations they may have, as well as to assess their education levels. By doing this, you will also be able to create online experiences that are informative and engaging, rather than too challenging or boring. For instance, if your target audience includes a number of adult learners who may already know how to use multimedia, then tapping into them to mentor other adult learners will boost its effectiveness and make it more immersive. Assumption number 3, readiness to learn. Utilize social media and online collaboration tools to tie learning into social development. As we get older, we tend to gravitate more toward learning experiences that offer some sort of social development benefit. For example, we are often more ready to challenge ourselves with new learning opportunities if we know it will help us to fine-tune skills that pertain to our social roles. From an online professional point of view, Social media and online collaboration tools can help you to incorporate this assumption into your deliverables. Create activities that encourage adult learners to use sites like LinkedIn and Google Plus as invaluable tools. This can help them to not only build their social network, but collaborate with those who share the same interests. Assumption number 4, orientation to learning. Emphasize how the subject matter is going to solve problems that an adult learner regularly encounters. Adult learners essentially need to know the why and when before they actively engage in the online learning process. For example, they will not only want to know why they need to acquire specific information, but whether or not that information can be applied in the immediate future. Younger learners accept the fact that the knowledge they're acquiring today may not be used for quite some time. However, mature learners prefer to engage in learning experiences that help them to solve problems they encounter on a regular basis in the here and now rather than the future. So, you'll want to emphasize how the subject matter is going to help them solve problems immediately by offering real-world examples and scenarios. Assumption number 5, motivation to learn. There must be a valid reason behind every online course, module, or educational activity. Motivation is key with adult learners. As such, you will need to motivate them to learn by offering them a reason for every online learning activity, assessment, or unit they'll need to complete. Online faculty must explain why a particular online course is being taught and why an adult learner must participate in an online learning activity in order for the overall learning experience to be meaningful and engaging. For example, if you are asking adult learners to complete a group collaboration task, you should also clearly define that this exercise will help them to build their team working and communication skills, even after the course is over. While younger learners won't need to necessarily know the reason why they are required to participate in an activity, adult learners need to feel as though they are more involved in the process of learning. Otherwise, they will question the validity of the online course, given that they don't see any real need for acquiring the new knowledge or skills. Another adult learning theory that is often used is the theory of staged self-directed learning. The Staged Self-Directed Learning (SSDL) model, Grow, 1991. This model's basic principle is that teaching is situational. The style of teaching needs to be matched to the learner's ability and motivation at the time, termed readiness. Gerald Grow proposed 4 learner styles and 4 matching teacher styles. You can only move an adult learner to the next level if you figure out where they currently are and match them first. Problems occur when dependent adult learners are mismatched with non-directive instructors, and with self-directed learners are mismatched with highly directive instructors. Theory of staged self-directed learning. The purpose of this model is to help you identify where your current adult learners are in terms of self-directedness. Match your educational activities to that level. Facilitate adult learners' progression to the next higher level. Good instruction does 2 things. It matches the adult learner's stage of self-direction. It empowers the adult learner to progress toward greater self-direction. Moving the adult learner onto the next stages requires time. It doesn't happen overnight. You need patience. Stage 1. The student is dependent and the teacher is the authority. Stage 2. The student is interested and the teacher is motivator and guide. Stage 3. The student is involved and the teacher is the facilitator. Stage 4. The student is fully self-directed and the teacher is the consultant and delegator. Stage 1 learners. Stage 1 adult learners are systematic, thorough, and disciplined. Being a dependent learner is not a defect. Stage 1 instruction is only bad when it is applied to the wrong learners or used to perpetuate dependency. It's okay for people to want to go back to the basics. To move adult learners up a stage, consider raising awareness and insight through revisiting learning needs and goal setting. Instructors could lift adult learners' self-esteem by helping them realize they achieved a goal and that they can do it again. This stage requires a delicate balance between encouraging, motivating, and demanding performance. Some warmth, encouragement, and support are needed, but not to the extent that the adult learners see you as a pushover. Stage 2 learners. Stage 2 learners are available. They are interested or interest-able. They respond to motivational techniques. The Stage 2 instructor brings enthusiasm and motivation to the online course, sweeping learners along with the excitement of learning. Such an instructor will persuade, explain, and sell, using a directive but highly supportive approach that reinforces learner willingness and enthusiasm. Adult learners at this stage go along if they understand why, and the educator provides direction and help. To move adult learners up a stage, begin training adult learners in such basic skills as goal setting. Build the adult learners' confidence. Help adult learners realize their different personality types and learning styles and encourage them to want to explore this and express it. Stage 3 learners. In this stage, learners have skills and knowledge, and they see themselves as participants in their own education. They may want to get involved with their instructor and other learners and to be respected for who they are and what they can do. They're happy working in a group, but they may need to develop a deeper self-concept, more confidence, more sense of direction, and a greater ability to work with and learn from others. Successful Stage 3 adult learners develop critical thinking, individual initiative, and a sense of themselves as co-creators of the culture that shapes them. They may even have a paradigm shift, for example, a life-world transformation. The online instructor comes closest at this stage to being a participant in the learning experience. Instructor and adult learner share in decision-making, with the learner taking an increasing role. The online instructor concentrates on facilitation and communication and supports students in using the skills they have, like a local guide. To move adult learners up a stage, start focusing on how they learn, such as making conscious use of learning strategies. Help adult learners examine themselves, their culture, and that of others to explore why they feel about something when they sense they should be feeling something else. Bring in the adult learners' experiences and weave that into the learning. Encourage collaboration in small group work. Empower adult learners so they feel they're not freaked out by new life situations they're going to face in the future. Stage 4 learners. Stage 4 learners are self-directed learners that set their own goals and standards. Most Stage 4 adult learners thrive in an atmosphere of autonomy. Some learners become situational, self-directed. Some become self-directed in a more general sense. Stage 4 learning does not completely do away with their instructors. The Stage 4 instructor's role is not to teach subject matter, but to cultivate the student's ability to learn. Eventually, the instructor will fade back so that the learner's own efforts become the unequivocal focus. The instructor weans the adult learner of being taught and continues instruction as the guide on the side. How to maintain this stage? Meet with the adult learner regularly to mentor them, review progress, encourage them to work with others, collaboration, and finally encourage self-evaluation. Embed within your discussion board concepts, questions, or paradoxes in the learner's mind which require a lifetime to work through. The ultimate task of a Stage 4 teacher is to become unnecessary. In this stage, adult learners have skills and knowledge, and they see themselves as participants in their own education. Adult learners are happy working in a group. But they may need to develop a deeper self-concept, more confidence, more sense of direction, and a greater ability to work with and learn from others. This graphic illustrates the 4 stages from low, where a student lacks motivation and knowledge, to high, where the student is willing and able to be a fully self-directed learner. Take a look at the adult learning model. From both adult learning theories, andragogy, and staged self-directed learning, adult learners at post-university need problem-centered learning. They are most motivated by subjects relevant to them. They bring experience to the learning environment. And most importantly, they need to be involved in their instruction. Strategies to meet the needs of adult learners. Programs' outcomes should be clearly explained, easy to understand. Courses should be organized, clear, and free from busy work. Incorporate in-depth assignments, meaningful, experience-oriented. Identify yourself as a partner in the learning process. Be whole picture oriented. Consider all aspects of students' life. Continuous support needed. Support resources focused on academics, academic writing, and citations. Blend adaptive technology, adult learning theory, and strategy to create social presence. Keep in mind variability in learning styles, external motivation for isolated students, building community, working in collaboration, fostering communications among learners. Implications for practice. Adult learners must be involved in their own learning. Adult learners bring life experience and want to utilize and build upon it. Adult learners want to have some choice in the direction of their own learning. Adult learners want to be able to apply what they are learning to real-life situations. There is not a one-size-fits-all model, theory, etc. for teaching adult learners. Build your knowledge base to better support the needs of all of your learners. Andragogy, stage self-directed learning. Be cognizant of the learning environment. Reduce stress. Address the needs and priorities of your learners.